Hello, Las Vegas, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golf at the Park, Angel Park's weekly interview show. Thank you very much for liking this video, commenting. We're running comment contests, so our favorite comment or two is going to get a free bucket of balls or some rounds of golf on Cloud 9. So please comment below. Let us know what you think about the show. We'd really appreciate it. Want to welcome Dylan Mirabal to the show today. Dylan, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Dylan's a fun golf story. He's a member of Random Golf Club here in town, which we do a lot of work with, and we're excited to hear about that. But to start, we always just go to the beginning. So how were you introduced to golf, Dylan?
Yeah, so it goes back a while. So I was introduced when I was 12, 13 years old by my dad, actually. So my dad first picked up a club in his adulthood, and just kind of, I picked it up as kind of a way for us to go do stuff together. But I didn't hit the ball as long as he did when I was 12, 13, obviously. So I knew that my rounds would take up more time. So I kind of would go to the range with him more so than play at that time. And then it didn't really ramp up until I was in high school, when I saw that there was like a team and that there was an opportunity to kind of play competitively. So
now, where'd you grow up? Because it's not in Vegas, I don't believe.
Yeah, no. So I come from Southern California, Riverside County area. I grew up in, I went to school at Murrieta Mesa. And my golf coach was actually, funny enough, the same high school coach that Ricky Fowler had in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah. Shout out Coach Brush.
Shout out Coach Brush.
Yeah.
Cut from the same cloth.
Yep. Definitely not the same skill, though. But yeah, so I played in high school. I made the team because my high school at the time was actually the newest school at the district. We were not known for sports. I was in maybe like one of the first few graduating classes of that high school. So all the competitive students that would go for sports would go to the other two high schools in my city. And so our school wasn't that good at golf. So it was easy to make the team.
Yeah. What clubs were you playing? Do you remember your first set?
Oh, yeah, I remember. I played, so they were hand-me-downs from my dad. They were Nike VRS, Coverts, all through the bag, driver, irons, putter, the Method Core putter. Still have all of them for the most part back at home.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I love those clubs. But, yeah, I played those for a while, and I just played maybe like, it was like 4 or 5 days a week, like just either range or going, once I got my driver's license, driving up to our home course up there and just walking 9 after school, 4 or 5 days a week. And
So if the golf team's not too difficult to get on and you're playing 4 and 5 days a week, you're gonna be a pretty good player on the team.
Yeah, so my skill level went from, so I was just a range rat before and just not really knowing what to do. I would probably shoot like 130 before high school, and then maybe like 120 once I made the team. Within a year, I was maybe like getting to breaking 100. And I pretty much just kind of plateaued there and stayed there, just because I feel like on our team, there wasn't really any other like competitive, that was like as competitive as it got.
Right.
So we didn't really push each other as much as other schools did. Like when we would play other schools, I would definitely shoot better scores because I was playing against better competition. But on our practice days, on our practice rounds, when I'm just playing with my friends from my school, it was usually just like mid 90s, and like that would win the day. So there was no reason to get better.
So when you didn't necessarily take lessons, or were you just kind of out there on your own mostly practicing?
Pretty much, yeah. It was, so being that I grew up in Ricky's area, there were a lot of kids that it was kind of like a mecca of golf for
the other
golf.
Around your school were a lot of good players.
Yeah, so a lot of kids, a lot of Division I golfers came from my area, and so there were a lot of swing coaches, but a lot of those swing coaches weren't that accessible. They were expensive. You had to be of like a certain caliber of player to even meet with a lot of these coaches. So it wasn't that easy, and just I got a couple lessons with a couple head pros, but that was really as far as it went. Nothing too far. For the most part, self-taught. Self-taught, and my dad taught me the grip. So
now, you told me that high school kind of burnt you out in golf a little bit.
Yep.
So how's that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, I just feel like just from playing 4 or 5 days a week and then just not getting better because after high school, I started seeing all of these other kids that I did play from other schools going to play in tournaments and stuff. And I saw the low scores that they would shoot. And in high school at the time, there were a lot of kids in that area. Like you guys may know Colin Morikawa. You guys
Sure.
may know Bryson DeChambeau. You guys may know Matt Wolf. Came in and won state his freshman year. Kid was an animal. But yeah, so it was a very competitive scene at the time. And so just kind of seeing all of that kind of put me off. Like, I'm never really going to be that caliber of player. And I just kind of accepted that. Like, I play for fun.
That's one of the reasons I quit in high school too and got burnt out is because I mean I was better than you were, but I wasn't going to be as good as the best players, and it got under my skin. It did. It's easy to do. I think it was easier to do. Maybe not. I think some of that is breaking a little bit. I know that new golf is becoming a little bit more accessible and a little bit more fun. And so I hope that that's trickling down into even youth and teenage golf. I think that hopefully is the direction we're headed, which is good. So so you're in California and now you're a little burnt out of, around high school. What happens? Do you go to college? Where's your life go next?
Yeah, so after high school, I went to community college. I didn't really have a direction there. Kind of went for business school and got my real estate license. Started working in real estate and property management, and just dropped out of school because I was making money. But yeah, I didn't really have an interest in golf and kind of just drifted away from it for a few years, and then just was working a lot. And then once I kind of lost interest in what I was working in also, I then kind of wanted to find something new. I found the job that I work in now. Shout out DraftKings. I'm currently working there.
DraftKings. That's an interesting job. What do you do for DraftKings?
Yeah, so actually I work in fraud prevention for them. So it's a fun job. And I'm not sure how much I can talk about it on camera, but yeah, it's a fun job that can't say enough about the company. I love it.
That's great. I'm very pro DraftKings just because they gave Dan Le Batard his show away from ESPN. I'm a huge fan of Dan Le Batard, and I actually have been watching him even more and more these last 6 months because I'm trying to get better at my interviewing skills. So we both love DraftKings. Yeah. All right, so is that what brings you to Vegas?
Yeah, so that was the gig that brought me out here to Vegas, and that was a few years ago. That was back in 2020. And when I came out here, 2020, it was a pretty polarizing time in our country, so kind of didn't really have any friends out here at the time, and just kind of playing golf, as you know, the sport that it is, the typical type of people that play it. I just kind of, the people that I'd get paired up with typically were a lot of Trump supporters. Not that there's anything, they could support who they want.
But in 2020 and going out to play golf and as a single and getting paired up, and the first question someone says to you on the first tee is, who are you voting for? That was something that, again, people play golf to get away from their lives. And without getting into politics, the fact that was brought up, I think it was really interesting what you do from there, because your Instagram account isn't your name. It's Fairway Golf Finders Show.
Fairway Finder Golf Show.
Fairway Finder Golf Show.
I'll follow that if you haven't.
Yeah, at Fairway Finder Golf Show. He'll be tagged in all of these, and you'll be able to follow Dylan. But so you created this because of that dynamic.
Yeah.
And so what was your solution to that?
Yeah, so I kind of know that, like, some people don't like to be on camera, and so I would start bringing a camera with me to rounds and start recording all my rounds, and I would just play by myself. People wouldn't want to be paired up with me, and it was kind of just a way for me to find community. But like, I would post all of my stuff on Instagram, I'd post all my stuff on YouTube, and if there were any other Vegas golfers that wanted to play a match or wanted to get out for 18 that just didn't care about anything else and wanted to play golf and have a relaxing day, that was what I wanted. So
It helped you find a lane to finding people to play with
yeah.
that was a little bit more than just showing up at the golf course.
Yeah, and through YouTube, I actually found ended up finding at the time it was Eric Anders Lang. It wasn't Random Golf Club at the time. It was his travel series
The
that
stuff
he
he
did.
was doing before Random.
Yeah, with Scratch.
Yeah, explain a little bit about that because we've talked about Random Golf Club a lot, which we will too,
Yeah.
but talk about his early stuff.
Yeah, so his early stuff, he did a lot of travel stuff, and I'm a travel nut. I like to go to a lot of different places, and so just seeing this guy that was playing just stress-free golf in all these different places all over the world that called my attention, and I was like, man, that looks cool, and I wanted to get back into golf for the longest time, and then there was one video that I saw that he did. It was the first Random Golf Club video. That was the catalyst that did eventually get me back into golf. The first Random Golf Club Australia video that I saw. It was a bunch of people that met up in Melbourne, and I don't know how many people it was like 50 plus people, and they all just walked a course together and all played. And I saw it was like kids, old people, like all different walks of life, just having fun on the golf course, and that was something that I was like, that's what I want. That right there.
Was Australia where the first Random Golf Club was held?
Yeah, that was where
I
the
didn't know
first
that.
ever one was. Yeah. I think it was super impromptu. They kind of just like planned it like a week before and were like, hey, if you guys know a bunch of golfers in the area, just kind of like, we're going to get a big group to go out this day. And I think it was like a lot more people showed up than they had planned. And the course was just super like welcoming to whatever it was that came. But yeah, it was awesome. It's courses like you guys that let the door in for us that are able to get this community started in cities like this.
Yeah, we're really thankful for Random Golf Club. We've already had JR on the show. He was one of the first people we had on the show. And so I'm excited about how you end up finding out about the first chapter of Random Golf Club here and because you're an original member of the Las Vegas chapter.
Yeah, so just like keeping up with the stuff that Eric was doing and then eventually seeing the brand Random Golf Club that he put out, I saw that chapters started forming in different cities. And I thought, oh man, that would be really cool if they did something like that in Vegas. I didn't reach out to do something like that personally. But I did see one day a little account popped up that said Random Golf Club Las Vegas, and because I was searching maybe like once a month or something like that, just to see if something would pop up. Yeah, and then one day it did, and so I just clicked on it, started following it, and then one day they posted something. I think it was like coming soon or something like that, and I messaged them right away, and I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? And they were like, oh, we're planning our first range meetup. Stay tuned. And that was the catalyst when I didn't even know who I was messaging. It was some yellow picture with text that I was just blindly messaging someone hoping for that they would come out here, and they did. And
so tell us about that first meeting.
Yeah, that first meetup was with Brett, JR, and a couple other people at Vegas Golf Center. It was just 5 of us.
Yeah.
And we literally just showed up. I was there like an hour early because I was like, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know if like it was gonna be like Random Golf Club was gonna be there, like, or if it was gonna be like just some guy. So I showed up all early and I was like, if you guys need help, like I'm here. Like I didn't know what to expect. So yeah, I showed up there and I'm just hitting balls. I got 2 large buckets and I'm tired already by the time that they got there. But yeah, we ended up staying there till like, it was like 10 o'clock that night, just talking golf and hanging out. And it was awesome time.
Yeah, I remember you telling me when we met, I had just come through some things in my life, and I was trying to do really well in my job, but I was on medication for some mental illness, and it had brought back some things in my life that I didn't really realize I had, and one was social anxiety, and I think it was the third Random Golf Club when I finally introduced myself to
Yep.
you, and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry." I said I should have come and introduced myself sooner. I'm still getting used to all this. He said, "That's my favorite thing about
Yep.
this is I feel that way,
Yep.
and these guys are." And I thought, "Wow, that's really neat that you kind of found that community with them right off the bat."
Yeah.
So how do you start growing that with them? And tell us a little about the early meetups and how those went.
Yeah. So after just kind of going to the range with Brett and JR, we kind of all just stayed in touch, and we're like, hey, when's the next one going to be? Like literally that night, we're like, when's the next one going to be? Let's get to planning it and stuff like that. And JR and I were all in, fully invested, and just wanted to start growing this thing. And yeah, from there we just kind of, I know Brett started just going like basically door knocking to courses, and just pitching like, hey, can we bring a bunch of people to your course? And
Yeah.
we have no idea how many people will show up. And I remember that first on-course meetup was at Muni out here, Vegas Golf Club. Shout out Muni for giving us the first chance.
Yep.
Oh man, what a day that was.
Muni's now a sister golf course of ours. Yeah, Arcus has come in and purchased Angel Park Golf Club, and they also run Las Vegas Municipal. So
Okay,
yeah, we're a
awesome.
sister course as of about a week ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. So we, Vegas Golf Club, we got through maybe like 2 holes, and then we got some pretty nasty cloud coverage that rolled in. And if you know Vegas Golf Club, the 3rd hole is the one hole with water that it's the par 3, the short par 3. And so we got there, that was our Ace Cam live, and it just starts pouring rain right when we're on the tee box. I don't even remember if anyone stuck the green. I don't even know if anyone putted out. I think we all just got our balls and just walked. We ended up going to, there's a restroom, because at that point we're super far out from the clubhouse, like the farthest point we could be. So we find a restroom to take shelter in, and we're all just kind of huddled around there. I have it on my YouTube channel, if you guys want to see the video.
Well, let's tell you what's your YouTube channel.
So it's the same thing, Fairway Finder Golf Show.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did, at the beginning, I did vlogs of the whole start of the RGC Vegas thing. We have like 2 or 3 meetups that I think I have on my channel. But yeah, just it was an experience, because a lot of us didn't know what to expect, and I think it was 8 or 9 of us that ended up playing together. But yeah, just poured rain on us, and yeah, I remember I was playing lights out. I wanted to keep playing.
It's always like that, right?
Yeah, I was like 1 under through 3, and I was like, I've never played like that. I'm still a bogey golfer. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I needed to keep going, but yeah, no, that was awesome.
So let's go back to your clubs then, because you're not playing what you started with. What have you upgraded to? What do you like? Are you a club head now, or?
So I'm not exactly a club head per se. I like what I like, and I mean I feel like everybody should do that. I don't think that you should feel like you have to commit to the newest tailor-made Sim 2, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, play that. But you don't have to commit to the newest of the new.
Right.
My irons that I play are some other hand-me-downs that my father-in-law actually he got from his business. Someone just gave them to him. They're brand new. This guy was like, hey, I got fitted for these, played horrible. He said he played 1 round with them. The guy must be loaded. It was Titleist irons fitted, but they're like 15 years old. So he said he had them in his garage forever, and he just gave them to him. They're CB something. There's some blades, but I should not be playing these clubs. I have no business playing these clubs at all.
Blades are hard to hit.
Yeah, but they're just pretty. I like them, and when you hit them right, they feel right.
Sure.
Yeah, and they're fun. They're fun clubs. My wedges, I buy used wedges from PGA Superstore, because I don't want to. There's out here in Vegas, there's a lot of rocky lies. There's a lot of rocky bunkers. You're not going to have pretty wedges after 3 rounds. Do not invest in good wedges if you're going to be hitting out of a lot of bunkers out here.
Yeah.
My 56, if you look at the bottom of it, it looks like I scraped it along the street.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also 17B, main rule of Random Golf Club, play the ball as it lies.
As it lies.
Yeah, I always, 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 if I will find my ball, I will play it. If it's 50% submerged in water, if it's all covered in sand, wherever it is, in a bush, I will hit it. So, yeah, cart paths are not out of bounds for me. I've hit several balls off cart paths.
Yeah. That's fun. That's fun. What about following golf? I wanted to ask you about gluten-free Abraham Answer.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you explain what that is?
Yeah, so I started off as it was great value Abe Answer because I wanted my people say that I look like Abe Answer, and I said great value because I'm pretty much the Walmart version of him because I shoot the 90s. But then I switched it to gluten-free Abe Answer because not that I'm anyone that's going to spread massive awareness, but if I could spread any awareness, I will. So I have something called celiac disease.
You do have celiac. That's the question. I knew someone who had celiac, and she was very insistent upon the designation between people who are gluten-free for trying to be healthier and people who have celiac disease.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so there's a very distinct difference. So a lot of people, when you go to restaurants and you order something that and you say, oh, can you put an allergy note to gluten on it? A lot of people will roll their eyes. I know it because I did it personally. I worked in food service, and I would just think that, oh, these people are just trying to, it's just another diet that they're on.
Right.
Doesn't actually affect anything in their stomach, but there are people that it absolutely 100% does. So like with celiac disease, basically what it does, it's an autoimmune disease that when you eat anything with gluten, your body basically attacks itself. So anytime I eat, say, bread, pasta, anything that has gluten, even if anything touches anything with gluten. So if I have a gluten-free meal,
if it's made on the same board.
Yeah, made on the same board, or even if you're having your food and you say, hey, can I have that? And you touch my food, it's contaminated and I can't have it anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of different things. Every month I've been on this. I've had my diagnosis for 3 years, and every month still I'm finding out new things that I can't have. Just last month I found out that my toothpaste company actually switched to using a wheat-based filler in the toothpaste. So yeah, I had to switch to Arm & Hammer. Don't use Crest if you have celiac disease.
Oh, wow. See, that's the kind of awareness we need to be spreading. I think that's fascinating. Have you felt better over the last 3 years?
I have. Yeah, I have. I've definitely, so I usually, the thing that did it for me was after I would have beer, it was one sip of beer and instantly throwing up. And I knew that wasn't like, oh, he's a lightweight, he can't handle his liquor, because it's not like no one would throw up off of one sip of beer just because they can't handle their liquor. That's something that my body is rejecting it. So, yeah, just tons of tests. I actually ended up being undiagnosed for, I was talking with my parents last night about it. It was like 6-7 years. Doctors ran tests and just ran the wrong tests because they don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
So a lot of doctors in the U.S. aren't properly educated on it because it only affects 1% of our population. So they won't test for this one thing. All it is a simple blood test. If you ask them if you're not feeling good with your stomach, just ask them to test for celiac disease on your next blood test, and it'll eliminate it. There's one simple thing that if you're eating gluten, it'll show that it's massively elevated, and it's right there. They'll give you a diagnosis.
Yeah. And the other thing that I thought was interesting about that I hadn't asked is Abe Answer isn't necessarily who you consistently take in the major contests.
No. So
why don't you explain that?
Yeah. So I was. Unfortunately, he decided to go to live as some golfers did, which as their prerogative.
You want to talk about live at all?
I mean, we could. There's some golfers that I don't have a problem with them going to live. I have a problem with golfers that go to live and then say that they're going to grow the game, but don't actually commit to that. Like what Phil did basically. That's what I have a problem with. DJ is one of the guys that I actually respect. He basically just went out there and said, I'm going out there for the money. He didn't say he's going out there to grow the game, but he actually is growing the game. just last month, DJ every single year to this day still hosts an international tournament in his hometown in South Carolina that hosts the best international golf talent from countries from all around the world. Mexico, all of South America, brings a bunch of kids to America.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, and a bunch of sponsors, gets them a bunch of college exposure. Does a lot of good to grow the game. So there's guys that are using their money for the right things, and then there's guys that just say that they are and aren't doing that. So
Right.
yeah, that's what I have a problem with. If you're gonna go and say it and take the money, just say that you're gonna take the money and do that.
Well, the reason I like talking about live is because there are a lot of different angles, and it's easy to just say it's this or that. I mean, at the end of the day, the Saudi government is probably the major problem, but
100%.
But it's interesting that just as Bryce Koepka just won, he was asked if he would have known that he was going to kind of get out of his funk and come back, would he have gone to live? And he said, that's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. So there were guys that were just going for because they knew that they were going to make paychecks.
Guaranteed money.
Yeah. So I just think all of that's really, really fascinating. So who's your favorite now?
Oh man, my favorite now. I bounce around a lot with my favorite guys on tour, but I'm a big Spieth and a big Rory guy. I like to talk to my ball a lot like Spieth does, and Rory just has the most majestic swing in the game.
Yep.
Oh man, that driver swing when that lock.
Yeah, Rory's fun. And Spieth's fun. Did you watch the Netflix Full Swing last year?
I did.
What was your favorite episode?
Yeah, my favorite one was probably Joel Damon.
Yeah, that's mine too. I think that's come up on the show before, but Joel Damon's is mine by far. And one of the reasons that I really got behind one of the questions in the par 5 about the aiming fluid is I felt more comfortable with that question is when they're having the White Claws at the turn. And I just, I thought that was so cool because in the 70s and 80s and 90s, the players on the tour were drinking. They were just hiding it in Coke cups and stuff. So, and I think that's gone on for a long time. But I just think all of that's really, really fascinating. Yeah. Do you watch a lot of golf?
I do. Yeah. My group chat, we have a little fun pick'em pool that we like to do for all the majors and stuff. And I've come in last for the Masters and second to last for the PGA Championship. So, shout out to Nick Soju Sensation for the back-to-back wins on both of them.
We've had back-to-back wins in our Angel Park contests. Jaden Braun just won the Masters and the PGA.
Wow!
So the people who are picking them are on point this year.
Yeah, they got something going on.
That's so fun. Where are some of the places you've played that you've loved to play? Because you've played at least in Southern California and here. Have you played around other places, other cities?
I have never taken my clubs anywhere other than. So I've played in 3 states. I've played in California, Nevada, and Utah, and that's it. And just one course in Utah, and that was last week.
Oh wow! You just played last week.
Yeah.
Where'd you play?
I just played Sand Hollow last week.
Many people's favorite. Yeah,
that was up there, probably top 5 for me. I want to say it's top 3, but I don't know. Like, I feel like it was, and I don't want to say it was too easy, but I just had a great round out there for myself. I shot like a 86, which I wasn't expecting that for all the elevation, having never seen this course before. So, I don't know. If a course challenges me, I feel like it ranks higher on my list, and there's some that definitely have challenged me a lot more that I feel like are a lot higher. A couple weeks ago, I flew out with another one of our board of directors, John Reyes, flew out to LA for a little day trip. We
shout out John, by the way.
Shout out John. Flew out here from Vegas at 7 a.m. We had like a 10 a.m. tee time in LA at Rustic Canyon, and we flew back that same night. But that course was amazing.
So you just flew out, day trip, play golf, flew back.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Southwest, you could bring your clubs, golf clubs for free. So yeah, make sure you guys use that.
That's great. I love that. Um, uh, what what are some of your least favorite things about golf? Are there any things about golf that you would change?
Things about golf that I'd change. I mean, it's tough to say. Like I feel personally like I don't like getting paired up with just random strangers and stuff like that that I don't personally align with. I know that if you're a solo and you're going to play, you can't expect to have the course to yourself. You can't expect to play solo. Um, but I don't know. I feel like if there was just like a better like way to pair people. I know sometimes you just show up to the course and you're like, hey, get me out as soon as possible. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. That's probably my one gripe is just being able to pick
So a
who you play with.
comfortability
Yeah,
level with who you're playing with
comfortability.
more.
Yeah, but I mean I found that now with my group. So
Yeah, I was going to say. So who are your favorite pals to go play with now?
oh yeah, I mean all the RGC guys, all the RGC crew, any of the members, any non-members, future members.
I was going to say, and the
past
best thing
members.
about RGC is that everyone's welcome, right?
Yes,
So
all are welcome. So anybody, as long as, like I said, as long as we're out there to have fun and we're just playing golf, that's my type of partner. So I don't have a favorite person. I like if you said my dream foursome.
yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, I probably couldn't even name four people that I'd want to play with. Just four types of people. Just
Yeah.
people that want to play golf.
That's awesome. What's your favorite thing about golf?
Favorite thing. Yeah, favorite thing is, I mean, just being able to see new places. Like, there's so many. I know I've only played in 3 states, but I've seen courses like all over. Like when I have traveled to different countries and stuff, just like seeing the course.
You were just out of the country
I was
recently.
I just went to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a month ago. And there was PGA Riviera Maya that was down there, and I forget the name of the one, but it's the one with the famous cave bunker down in Mexico. But yeah, super super cool courses down there, and just seeing the different architecture and how they use grass in different places. Down there in Cancun, it's actually really hard to grow grass because the ground is all limestone, so they have to import sod from all over, and it costs millions and millions and millions of dollars just for them to build these and maintain these courses because it just washes away when there's rain.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, because there's no solid ground. They can't. That's why they can't grow their own food out there. There's no farmland out there for any of them. So like the Mayas had to invent these like old ways to get food underground and stuff like that. And there's all these different crazy things down there that they had to pretty much figure out just to get grass to grow for the golf courses. That's why there's not many down there.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite courses here in town? Have you played
town.
most of the courses in town? Well,
Here-
we always appreciate if it's Angel Park, and I know you play out here quite a bit.
Yeah, here I'm here all the time. So I mean, mountain's tough. Palm is there if I want to take it easier on myself. And the Cloud9 always at night. But I mean, if I had to go somewhere other than here, it'd probably be Paiute. Paiute's beautiful. They have a beautiful facility out there, great practice area, and 3 awesome courses.
One of the great things about Paiute is because they're on the reservation, they have their own water.
Yes.
So it's always in great condition,
Yeah.
which is special. Yeah, Paiute's a really, really good one. And I haven't played Paiute in a few years, but yeah, I like that answer quite a bit. Where do you see your game going? Do you want to try to continue to get better, or are you just really comfortable kind of hanging out where you're at and just playing for fun?
So I'm comfortable where I'm at, but then I see like guys in my group chat that are shooting 85s and stuff. JR just shot an 85 yesterday at Aliante.
Congrats, JR.
And yeah, just the whole group chat is getting lower scores. So I mean that kind of the competitive nature in me wants to get lower now because they're all getting lower. We have one guy in the chat, Pete, that just broke 100 for the first time the other day. Shout out, Pete. That
Wow,
was awesome.
congratulations, Pete.
Yeah.
That's a fun feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, everyone's getting better, and everyone's kind of just like we're not like competitive to the point where we're hard on each other, but it's like it's a fun. We're driving our scores down. So it's awesome. It's a good experience.
That's neat. That's awesome. Well, Dylan, I really appreciate you coming in. It's fun to share all these stories. And if you're ready, I think we'll get to that par 5 of questions.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Question number 1. What's your favorite golf movie?
Favorite golf movie? I'm going to say Tin Cup. I'm a big Kevin Costner Tin Cup guy.
Tin Cup is mine.
Yeah.
Most traditional golfers or purists, when it came out, didn't like it because of the way that it ends.
Yeah.
But I think younger generations or golfers who didn't necessarily take the game as seriously didn't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Because the whole... all the way up until that part, it's almost the perfect golf movie.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially with like Michael Block at the PGA recently, like that's the most like real life personification of the movie that we've seen in recent history.
Right. The Michael Block story is interesting. I have a feeling he's going to come up more and more often. It just happened in the last week. But 20 PGA professionals, club pros get to play in the PGA. So it's a little bit more exclusive than the U.S. Open, where anybody can qualify. And yeah, his story, when actually after his third round, I don't know if you saw the highlight, they went up to him and they said, "What do you think about getting paired with Rory tomorrow?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "What?
Are you serious?
Are you serious?"
Yeah.
And then he like turns around and he's like, "Really?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, we're going to have fun." And then he's like, "Really?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was great. And his ace. And then I was telling Leah, my girlfriend, when he hit the ball left on 18, I said, he's got to get this up and down. But the way he's playing, I think he probably will. And he just hits 2 great shots.
Yep.
And I got choked up. I got so emotional. So yeah, that was fun. Michael Block was really neat. Question number 2, what's your favorite club in your bag and why?
Favorite club in my bag? Recently, it's been my driver just because it's the only club in my bag that I've been fitted for. So I play hand-me-downs and bad clubs for not bad clubs, hand-me-downs and cheaper clubs for everything else. This is the only club that that has had any type of money put into it. And I've been playing really well with it. I've been able to control it left, right, high, low. So
What is it?
It's a Titleist TSI 2.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And you hit it well.
Yeah, I hit it well. I mean, you could ask everyone in the group chat. How far do I hit it, guys?
All right, I like that. See, you've got a little taunt in you. Question number 3, which maybe is going to be interesting here. Dream foursome, so you can pick any 3 players alive or dead to play with, and then where would you play?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on this earlier, but I mean, dream foursome would have to be my dad because he got me into the game of golf. So, and we'd be playing at Cypress Point. I know that much. Dream foursome, because
Cypress Point's one of the most famous, most popular ones on the West Coast.
I'd rather play there than Augusta. That is my number one. If I could get an invite anywhere, that's where I'd rather play. But for the other 2, like I said, just anybody that is down for a good time on the golf course. Doesn't have to be any specific person, doesn't have to be a pro.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you would just want to play with anybody that wants to play and enjoys the game the way you do. We always get new answers for that question, and they're always interesting and rad. Great answer.
Thank you.
Question number 4, aiming fluid. What are you drinking out on the golf course?
Aiming fluid. So I actually just recently, from my trip to California with John, we found at a liquor store some gluten-free beer called Glutenberg. And so I've been on just a kick, just finding different gluten-free beers. We found this other one the other day called Red Bridge. So I've just been trying different ones on the course. So usually some type of beer if I could find it. And if not, I'm a Jack and Coke guy.
I was going to say, because celiac can drink hard liquor, right?
Yep.
But just not beer.
Yep.
And now they're making gluten-free beer.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yep.
That's great. Good for you. That makes me excited that you can have a few pops. I think that's neat.
Let's get AP to get some gluten-free beer.
Actually, that's exactly what we need to do. I'll talk to Rich tonight. That's a good idea. Question number 5, the part of the show that may no longer be PG rated. When you do hit a bad shot on the golf course, when you let the your frustration get the best of you? Is there one word or phrase that you use more than others? Most golfers tend to have something they go to often.
Yeah, so I don't have a word or phrase. I say a lot of, we call it positive self-talk. It's not positive at all. We just have a lot of different varying phrases that, with profanity, obviously, like, don't have to go into all of them. But usually my go-to isn't even a phrase, it's an action. I am a club dropper. So anytime that if the ball, like if I intend for it to be a fade and it just snap hooks left, I just drop the club out of my hands.
So you don't throw it, you drop it.
Yeah, just drop it. It's like, sometimes I'll try to catch it on the way down. Sometimes it'll like fling out of my hands. Like it's a little unsafe. But yeah, me and Justin Thomas have the club drops in common.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Dylan, thank you again for coming out. We'll be promoting the Random Golf Club events that are coming up. We'll probably have one in the next month or two.
Yes.
We'll set that up after we get done filming this show. And thanks again for coming in, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Cheers.
having me.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. So until then, from your friends at Angel Park, hit them straight. Cheers.